Help me. Verse 1. I want to hear another version. Okay, good. Thank you. Be careful. Good. I love this. Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. This is the background of this scripture. Any other thing you're going to read where Jesus was talking about giving, where he was talking about prayer, and he now talked about fasting, is predicated on this verse 1. Anybody that undertakes prayer, fasting, giving, without considering this verse is going to waste his resources, waste his time, waste his energy. Jesus is teaching. I told people said, because when you discover Jesus teaching on giving particularly, he said, let your left hand not see what your right hand is giving. For long we thought, let your neighbor not see. It's a lie. Sometimes you are removing your money. I told some people, I said, if you are removing your money from your pocket, mistakenly your neighbor see, you mean God will not reward you? He will reward you. Jesus was talking about motive, heart condition. That when you were doing the giving, what was your motivation for the giving? Even if nobody saw you, but your motivation was wrong, you had received your reward because you have been motivated. When people see you and they say, ha, you can give, and that was your motivation, that was your reward. God don't have any reward for you again. That was why Jesus, go to verse 16, go to verse 16, go to verse 16, go to verse 16, verse 16, verse 16, yes. When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show men they are fasting. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. Because in full, they have received full reward. Why? Because men had already congratulated them for fasting. That you can fast 20 days, 50 days, and the reward was that people acknowledged you as a fasting giant. Better I eat my food. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, Jesus said, continue, so that it will not be obvious to men that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Now, back to it. I said it's motive. That does not mean that people might know you are fasting, of course. Sometimes people know you are fasting, even if you are trying to hide. But your motivation is the issue that Jesus is talking about. Your motivation. So if you are fasting so that people will say, this person, if it is fasting, forget it. And that is your motivation. Then your reward will come from men. So you need to choose whether your reward will come from God or your reward will come from men. If your reward is going to come from God, then your motivation must be clear. Then you must be concentrated in that your fast to ensure that it is God alone you are seeking. You know, in our generation, many things are public. Many things have become public, which were not public. A personal person will go for a fast or for his personal retreat or prayer on a mountain, and he will go with camera. So I'm wondering, you are positioning yourself for camera in the presence of God. You are not even serious. How do you even go into a political leader or some king? You might not go casually like that. 40 days of fasting on the mountain, send your prayer request. And God is saying, where did we learn this thing? Even our fathers did not do this kind of things that we are doing. No wonder we do a lot of spiritual activities where you will imagine that power should be available, but you discover we are empty because our heart is not correct. Even though we are doing the activities, but we are discovering we are not getting the results that the activity. You are checking. Daniel fasted 21 days. This was the result. And you fasted 40 days. Your result was not even quarter to what he got in 21 days. It's a sign that there is something wrong with the operation of that fasting you are doing. Your heart condition. I wrote something down here. Maybe you would like to write it. Fasting and praying is actually a statement of inadequacy and complete dependence on God. That is what fasting and prayer means. Fasting and praying is a statement you are making that you are inadequate and that you are completely dependent on God. If I have the wherewithal to do things and I know I'm capable, I will not fast and pray. I will just do what I want to do with what I have. But if I choose to fast and pray and make myself to undergo that condition, it is because I believe and I have come to realize that I in myself, I am inadequate and I depend on God to give me a solution. That will provoke you that will make you to live to do that fasting in a humble and a dependent way.